SmackDown took place tonight in Indianapolis, Indiana, the city that's hosting tomorrow's Royal Rumble event. We started the show off with Michael Cole hyping up the crowd. He accidentally calls the stadium that's hosting the Rumble tomorrow night Lucas Oil Field instead of Lucas Oil Stadium. Finally, he introduces Pat McAfee, and I thought Pat here, he did a great job of putting this over the city, and he really made it feel like they're getting a huge event, and they're getting huge events. Look, Pat, a lot of times I think he's really annoying. However, I felt he was really into it this time. I felt like he was a fan. He just came off really genuine here, and I really liked him here. So they're doing the thing where they're trying to really put over Indy, not just to the fans, like this is something you put off TV, but to the audience at home, because they're going to be in Indianapolis quite a bit over the next few years. However, WWE will not have WrestleMania next year in Indianapolis. 2026, about 2 weeks before or so, is already booked the Final Four tournament, and I don't think they're going to have WrestleMania and the Final Four at the same venue within a few weeks of each other at most. So it's not going to be in Indy. It's probably New Orleans. But Indy will get a SummerSlam and a WrestleMania. 2026 SummerSlam's off the table as well because that's booked for Minnesota. So maybe 2027, 2028, they'll get their Mania and then their SummerSlam. But they did a great job here. Then they send it down to Joe Tessitore. He's in the ring. He introduces Kevin Owens, and the belts are basically hanging in the middle of the ring here. So Joe apologizes to Kevin over the negative coverage he's been giving him. Kevin takes his belt. He's ready to leave. He insults Tessitore multiple times. But then CM Punk comes out, and we have CM Punk on SmackDown for the first time in several years, over a decade actually. They go back and forth. Kevin mocks him for not main eventing a WrestleMania. So it's obvious CM Punk's going to main event WrestleMania. It's not a guarantee he's going to win the Rumble tomorrow night, but he is going to main event WrestleMania this year, at least one of the two nights, probably the first night. Kev says he hopes he never gets to main event WrestleMania. To me, this is Punk main eventing WrestleMania is almost like Cody Rhodes' finish the story. So this is this year's finish the story. Punk claps back by mocking Kevin for losing multiple title matches at the Rumble. I mean, maybe he listens to my show because I mentioned that multiple times. Kevin lost in 2016 to Ambrose for an Intercontinental title. He lost, he beat Roman in 2017 for the Universal title. 2018, however, is when he lost in a handicap match when he teamed with Sami against AJ Styles. Then 2019 he was hurt. 2020, I believe he was in the Rumble that year. 2021 is when he lost the last man standing match for Universal title against Roman Reigns. 22, I believe that year he was in the Rumble. 23, he lost to Roman Reigns in the main event. He got his ass kicked, and they had that big angle in San Antonio 2 years ago. And then last year, he got disqualified in the U.S. title match against Logan Paul. So, he didn't win the title, if I remember. Someone got disqualified. It's one of those things where they're building that up. Kind of make you think, was he winning this year? I still don't think so. Backstage, The Miz is bitching to Nick Aldis about Andrade. Andrade shows up, challenges him to a match. Next, we had Jimmy Uso against Carmelo Hayes. Uso came up first, and he made his entrance to the backstage area. They do it every once a show. They have that big entrance. However, Carmelo Hayes was really entertaining here because when he came out, he made fun of Tyrese Halliburton, who is a basketball star player for the Indiana Pacers. He was in the front row. Carmelo says he keeps missing. I laughed. I thought that was genuinely funny. I thought Carmelo was really entertaining here. The match they had here wasn't much of a match. It was very average. Jamie just wanted to roll up, and he had Tyrese basically laughing at Carmelo after the match. They did the classic annual Royal Rumble by the numbers video. It was really good this year. There was a few years where they would just rehash it over and over again. This was much updated, and they included the last few years. I thought this was really well done. You had Chelsea Green being interviewed by Byron Saxton. She says she'll win the Royal Rumble. Yeah, right. She had a match at Michin. I mean, a nothing match. I've seen this match a million times, like the last few months. Chelsea gets herself DQ'd with a kendo stick. Mishin beats her up with a kendo after the match. Chelsea had Piper in her corner, and Mishin had B-Fab. I don't want to watch this feud anymore. Unfortunately, they're going to continue it for the next couple months, it looks like. He had Byron Saxton interviewing Naomi and Bianca Belair backstage. They're teasing tensions between the two of them. You can see it subtly. It looks like Naomi will turn heel. But they could go with Bianca. I'm not sure. But the way they made it look like, the way this was set up, it doesn't seem like either one of them is going to win the Rumble, and only one of them really has a chance to, so you can figure out who that one is. They did a Charlotte Flair video package. They had Stephanie McMahon in the crowd. Then they had Damian Priest cutting a promo backstage saying he'll win the Royal Rumble. So he came out and said he'll win the Rumble. Then Jacob Fatu interrupts him, which was great. Fatu cuts this awesome promo about him and Priest both came from the streets, and how he kind of mocks Priest for braiding his hair. Fatu saying, "I was locked up. I came from that life." And then Priest really fires back on the mic, and it made me look. It made me think, you know what? I never really thought about this match ever. I kind of want to see this now. They really made it seem well. I just fear like if they have a match, it'll just be a traditional wrestling match. They need to have like a street fight. I think that can really work. But you had Damian Priest super kicking Tama Tonga just like a complete jobber. Tonga's just such a bum. Ever since Tonga Loa got hurt, Tama Tonga's the scrub. He's like the job guy of the group. But the two of them fight, and then it becomes 2-on-1 once Tonga recovers. But then LA Knight makes the save, and it sets up a tag team main event later tonight. I feel like I saw the exact same thing 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the Motor City Machine Gun segment with Legado del Fantasma. Basically, Santos is telling Legado not to trust him, not to put any effort into the match. You had Pretty Deadly and DIY against Legado and Motor City Machine Guns. So the match was alright. They're holding back. Motor City Machine Guns and DIY, I think, are going to have a great match tomorrow night, and they're really going to go all out in Indianapolis. So I don't blame them for not going 100% tonight. They should have held them back. I don't think they even need to be in this match. I don't think they should even be booked on this show, but they're wrestling tomorrow night. So the story was Legado walks out on them, then Motor City Machine Guns win after Ciampa gets pinned. I tell you what, after I saw that, I was feeling more and more confident about my predictions for DIY retaining the tag team titles tomorrow night. And I think that's almost a lock now. He had Tama Tonga walking backstage with Jacob Fatu. Fatu's walking, and Tonga stops when he spots DIY's tag team titles on the production box. He stares down DIY, who get their belts back. Then DIY moves on to Pretty Deadly. They yell at them for blowing the match, even though Ciampa's the one who got pinned. So I assume for sure they're going to make a run-in against the Motor City Machine Guns tomorrow night. You had Pat McAfee and Michael Cole in the crowd. They had their own setup. They introduced Tyrese Halliburton. I found him pretty genuine on the show. I thought he looked like he was having a fun time. He seems like a fan. Not really someone who they're just paying to be there, who really doesn't want to be there. It looked like he was having a good time. I didn't mind it. It's Indianapolis. The celebrity thing's a little bit annoying. I'm not going to lie. I think they're going a bit too overboard on it. But here, it worked. They did a good Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens video package. Again, the problem with SmackDown now, being on Fridays, is like you're going to get a lot of these kinds of matches. Like where you just have these kinds of shows, or rather, whether they're just, hypes for the big show on the next night. So, that was just what SmackDown really was for most of the night. You had Naomi and Liv Morgan. Naomi actually beat Liv here with a roll-up. I was not expecting that. I thought for sure Liv was going to win. Then Naomi win, which was interesting. Then after the match, you had Raquel and Liv beat them up. They stack them up on top of each other, and then Raquel basically power bombs Liv onto them, and they stand tall. You had Andrade beat the Miz, just a nothing match here. Just felt like a throwaway match. I know SmackDown hasn't been very good, but I found the first 2 hours pretty entertaining and pretty fun because I was really hyped up for the Rumble. But the third hour, I'm like, I just want this to end. I just want to get to the Rumble now. I'm done. All right, let's go home now. The third hour just dragged like it does every week. But you had Santos Escobar trying to recruit Damian Priest. Priest blows him off. Then Damian Priest is reunited with R-Truth, and I felt like, oh man, I missed this. I got that weird nostalgia feeling for a run I didn't really think much of. Truth was really entertaining with Judgment Day last year, but But seeing him back with Priest, having that banter back and forth was just really entertaining. LA Knight shows up. He's there as well. And then the three of them go back and forth. I thought this was actually a really funny segment. Backstage, you see Tiffany Stratton walking backstage, and she's met by Zelina Vega, the newest member of the SmackDown Women's roster. Zelina tells Tiffany she's coming for a title. Tiffany basically says you have to go through 29 other women. They kind of had an interaction. I assume that could be a feud for Tiffany until what happened next. I actually would much rather see Tiffany and Zelina than who Tiffany's next opponent is most likely going to be. Anyway, you had Pat McAfee and Michael Cole in the ring once again. It's like, why are they on the show? This is Raw. These are the Raw guys. They don't need to be all over this freaking show. They introduced Tiffany Stratton. They asked her about her opponents. They mentioned Nia Jax was booed heavily. They mentioned Candice LeRae. I believe they mentioned Bianca. Basically, everyone was booed except for Bianca. And they don't mention Charlotte, which was interesting because that's going to be her opponent most likely at WrestleMania. I think they were afraid of seeing Charlotte booed. I think they should just wait. If Charlotte gets a positive reaction, go with her as the face. But I think it's going to be more negative. And I think, for what I'm seeing right now, I want to see a face Tiffany and a heel Charlotte. I think that's the best route to go for WrestleMania because I think that match is happening. So she's interrupted by Candice LeRae, who gets no reaction. I'd like to see Candice LeRae and Misha compete for having no reaction. You can basically have a decimal level, and you can gauge which one had the higher reaction when they both come out, because neither of them get any reaction. Candice mentions Nia, and just who cares? I don't give a shit about Nia Jax. She talks about how Tiffany's a traitor, then Tiffany backs her into her corner, and then Cole and McAfee are out. However, Nia Jax comes, she accidentally crushes Tiffany, and then she goes back and forth with, she crushes Candice, and she hits the Samoan drop, and then the big fat, that Yokozuna thing, that drop she does, I forget what she even calls it, onto Tiffany Stratton. I think to myself, why? Get her off my fucking TV screen. I don't want to see Nia Jax anymore. Release her again, please. I was thrilled when they released her. When they brought her back at the Royal Rumble 2 years ago, the entire fucking crowd groaned. It wasn't even like good heel. He was like, get the fuck out of here. Why are you bringing her back? They run down the Royal Rumble card. Then you get the main event, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga against Damian Priest and LA Knight. Yeah. So you have the babyfaces getting the match here. Priest pins Tonga, no surprise. After the match, Fatu destroys Damian Priest, lays him out with a moonsault, stands tall. That's a good feud to go with. I wouldn't even mind if that's a WrestleMania match. I think that can actually work if they build it up right, so I wouldn't mind it, but I doubt that's the plan. I think Jacob Fatu is going to be the monster. He's going to get that Kane spot. When I refer to the Kane spot, I remember 2001, when Kane was just a monster. He set a record for most eliminations, which was eventually broken by Roman Reigns. He's going to get that kind of spot. He's just going to be a wrecking ball in the match. He's not winning. He's going to be eliminated probably by Roman Reigns. That'd be pretty interesting. But Fatu's going to have that kind of spot this year. He's just going to be a monster in this match. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward to the show. The show, SmackDown tonight, was all right. It was just a hype-up show. It was what it was. It's what you get ever since they moved SmackDown to Friday nights. It's just a big advertisement for tomorrow night. But tomorrow night is the Royal Rumble. And we are officially on the road to WrestleMania.